What's up, guys? Welcome to This Week in the NFL, Week 13. It is our Week 13 preview. It is Thanksgiving week, so,
Yep.
happy Thanksgiving to everyone. But we are once again not in the regular studio because, traveling for Thanksgiving. So, this kind of stinks, but it's whatever.
Yeah, making it work.
Yeah, we got three games different this week. Taylor has the Patriots, I have the Texans. He has the Ravens, I have the 49ers, and then he has the Cardinals, and I have the Rams. How are you feeling about those three?
I'm feeling pretty good about all of them except the Cardinals game. Honestly, thinking about when I made this pick at the beginning of the year, I wasn't thinking the 49ers were going to be this good for the Ravens game. So that's going to be a way better game than I was anticipating preseason, but they should all be good ones.
Oh yeah, no, they should all definitely be good ones. And like the Patriots and the Texans and the Ravens are at home, and I would have assumed that both those teams were gonna maybe lose, but because they're both at home, I don't know, they might be able to pull something out.
Yeah,
But as you said, that two of those three games are some of the best games of the week. So
yeah, exactly.
I'll definitely be. They're really up in the air. And then other than that, we got a couple more good games this week. The Thanksgiving has some good games. Buffalo Dallas is going to be a good one, and that's the only good game on Thanksgiving actually. But
Yeah, to be
um,
honest.
moving on to our games of the week. My first one is that 49ers Ravens game. It's obviously two of the best teams in the league, probably the two hottest teams in the league. 49ers obviously only have one loss to Seattle, and the Ravens have two to Cleveland and the Chiefs.
Yep.
So it's strength versus strength. Both teams run the ball well. Both teams play great defense. Both teams force turnovers,
Yep.
and they try to limit their own turnovers as much as possible. So it'll kind of just be whoever's better at it. You know what I mean?
hmm
I cannot wait to see if this 49ers pass rush is the group that finally corrals Lamar Jackson, finally forces him to turn it over, finally, doesn't let him embarrass them. So
Yep.
I'll be super interested to see that. And then, I obviously picked the 49ers to win, and I think they might win, but I feel like that the Ravens defense is really going to, kind of be coming down on this 49ers offense. Like, if the 49ers win this game, I think it's going to be because of their defense more than because of their offense.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think it comes down to the Ravens defense and Jimmy Garoppolo too. If they can shut down that
Yeah.
rushing attack and force Jimmy to make some throws, who knows? Because he's had splashes where he's looked really good, and there's times where he just looks average as hell. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think that'll be a really close, or not really close, a really good thing to look out for this game.
Yeah.
Kind of moving on to mine. My first game, I have the Patriots and the Texans, which we also talked about. I'm going to say that this is, this is definitely an important game, but I think it means a bit more to the Texans right now. Because obviously the Patriots are 10-1 right now on top of the entire AFC. Kind of just looking down on everybody with the ageless wonder Tom Brady.
Yeah, per usual.
Yeah, per usual. And the Texans are sitting at 7-4 right now in a very closely contested AFC South. The Colts and the Titans are right on their heels at 6-5 each. So I feel like that's going to be a huge motivation for them to come out and play their best game, and they're at home too, which is going to be really nice. I read this stat that Brady's currently fifth in passing yards, which
Yeah,
completely
saw that.
surprised me. So I went and looked a little further. He ranks 28th in yards per attempt at 6.7. So that's not very good.
No, it is not.
But to kind of counteract that, he also has the most passing attempts in the league at 439.
Does he
So
really?
yeah. So that kind of balances itself out. But I think the Texans have looked good this year. Deshaun Watson's played amazing this season. But I think the Brady bunch is just going to be a little too much for him this Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. The Patriots are, I bet this is going to be a good game, but I just feel like the Patriots are going to end up pulling it out. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind
I
of
think missing J.J. Watt's going to be huge for this game too.
yeah. Also, I cannot wait to see Stephon Gilmore versus DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh yeah.
We saw Stephon Gilmore absolutely shut down Amari Cooper. So
Oh, that was
if
unreal.
he
No receptions.
yeah, if he comes out and he does, obviously I don't think he's good. There's no way he shuts out Hopkins. If he did that, that'd be
Yeah.
ridiculous. But if he comes out and he, goes toe for toe with Hopkins, I think there's a serious argument that he might be the best corner in the league. And I feel like a lot of people already think that, regardless.
Yeah, I was about to say you don't really have many arguments
Yeah.
against you on that one.
So I cannot wait for that matchup. But also, just back to this, I can't believe Brady leads the league in pass attempts. I guess they.
I know.
I guess they. I mean, that does explain the short yards per attempt because they kind of use it as a running game more. But that still kind of blows me away.
No, same. And the guy right behind him is Jameis Winston, who's also in the top 5. So
that's who I figured would have been leading the league. I feel like he throws. I feel like he throws 50 times a game.
Right.
But moving on to my other game of the week, I got Vikings at Seahawks, and this is another really good one. Both these teams hold the wild card spots currently in the NFC, with the Vikings trailing the Packers and the Seahawks trailing the Niners. And I feel like both these teams don't have the wild card spots locked up, but I'd be very surprised to see one of them not get it. So
Same.
I mean, these are Yeah, and these are two playoff teams. They're going to play each other tough. Seattle's at home. I definitely give the advantage to Seattle. It will be a primetime game. Kirk Cousins in primetime. He's been really good this year. I still think, I mean, Kirk Cousins, he's not going to be flawless. You know what I mean? He's going to have his setbacks, and primetime in Seattle seems like a pretty good time for one.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, Kurt's been playing really good this season after, I think, since like week 2.
Yeah.
Since he had to apologize to Adam Thielen. But yeah, no, I think going into the land of the 12s, I think he'll finally show his true colors again.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on to my second game, I have the Chiefs and the Raiders. At the beginning of the year, if you would have told me that I'd be picking this game for one of my games of the week, there's no way I would have believed you. I would have figured the Chiefs would still been untouchable, and the Raiders would still be working on a rebuild, which is definitely still the case. But I think they're playing a lot better than I thought they were going to be at this point in the season. The Chiefs, saying the Chiefs have had a couple offensive injuries and everything throughout the whole season. Patrick Mahomes missed a couple games. Hill missed a couple games. I think they were short a couple linemen too, but they've looked very beatable at times because of their defense. Their defense just has way more holes than I thought they did.
And they added
a ton of points.
They added Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark. So
exactly.
You would expect them to be a lot better. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I'm curious to see what the real issue is with them. They currently sit on top of the AFC West at 7-4, and then the Raiders are right behind them at 6-5. So I mean, the Chiefs did win the first matchup of the year, but if the Raiders can get this win and keep playing well, I mean, there's a chance that they could even take that top spot from the Chiefs.
Yeah, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah,
because
it completely blew my mind.
I was before the season. I was so confident that the Raiders would be fighting for 3rd and 4th in the in the West. But they're better than the Chargers, which is crazy. And the Chiefs are, as you said, they're very beatable this year. They don't feel like they did last year. They've lost some games that they probably shouldn't have lost. They lost to the Titans.
And I mean, it literally has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes either, because he's still falling out.
Mm-hmm. It's has he been on that upper level he was last year? I mean, no, but you can't expect him to do that every year.
Exactly.
That's that's a once in a decade season, but that he had last year. So a little worse this year. I mean, as you said, if the Raiders come into Arrowhead and they beat them, the Chiefs might start down themselves a little. The Chiefs,
they've already lost a couple at home too that they shouldn't have. So.
Yeah, they have. So. I'll definitely be interested because obviously I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, so I would like them to bounce back here.
Yeah, I did too. So
as it looks like my other Super Bowl pick isn't even going to make the playoffs, in the Eagles, unless they can they can still beat out Dallas. We'll see though.
Oh, definitely.
We'll see. But moving on to our college games of the week, mine is going to be number 5 Alabama versus number 15 Auburn. We obviously have rivalry week. Great matchups across the board. Another matchup that we're not even going to talk about is number 8 Minnesota versus number 12 Wisconsin. So, we got some great games, and Auburn, Alabama is as good as it gets. It's the not actually, because the game you're going to talk about is better. But, it's the Iron Bowl. It's, there's been so many iconic plays in it. Auburn's not, neither of these teams are probably going to the playoff, but it's still, they still hate each other. It's still, Bama's still fighting for it. And there's definitely, Bama's number 5. So there's obviously a path to them getting in the playoffs.
there's definitely still a chance. I think some
Yeah.
things definitely need to happen for sure, and I think Mac Jones needs to really ball out and
Yes, and that's
look
also
good.
why Alabama opens this game as 3.5 point favorites. Like
Really.
when have you ever seen Alabama as 3.5 point favorites other than against LSU this year? You
Right.
know, like
I guess it's not like within like two rankings of them.
yeah, it does not happen very often, especially a
No.
team that was ranked 10 spots lower. So it will be a big game for Mac Jones, and obviously Bama's not going to play in the SEC championship regardless. But
Yeah.
a big destroying Auburn with the backup QB would definitely help the committee's opinion on him for sure.
Especially with how good that front seven is for Auburn too.
Yeah,
Jones
yeah,
for all them.
and kind of like what we did a couple weeks
Or Derek
ago.
Brown, sorry.
Yeah, we did a couple weeks ago with the when I did Alabama LSU. There's just too many possible NFL prospects to list in this
Right.
game. There's the entire Alabama receiving core. There's half their O line, a quarter of their defense, and then even on Auburn, you have guys like Nick Coe who are just studs. So
Yeah.
there's beasts on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think Alabama gets the win, but with a guy like Mac Jones, you really can't be sure.
Is that in Auburn or is that?
It is in Auburn. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to my game, we have the Ohio State against that team up north, Michigan. It's here. It's the game. It's arguably, I mean, in my opinion, it's the greatest rivalry in all sports.
Unbiased.
Ohio State is just now number one in the new college football playoff poll, which was a kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah, I
kind of thought
didn't
that
think
they
it
were
was going
going
to
to stick
happen.
with LSU. I mean, I'm not really complaining, but I'll take it. Ohio State comes in this game obviously coming off a huge win against Penn State last week, a hard-fought win, a sloppy game, I will say, on the offensive end of the ball. And then Michigan obviously comes into this game. They've been playing really well their last 5 games after just getting blown out by Wisconsin. They even played Penn State tough, even though they lost. You could argue that they could have come away with that one as well. But they come into this game playing spoiler on what's been a crazy season for Ohio State, who is the best offense and defense in the country, which I don't know when the last time I could have told you a team did that was.
Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also talk about khaki pants Harbaugh. He hasn't beat Ohio State yet, which has been a huge thing nagging on him these last couple years, and I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't led to his seat being a little hotter up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
So this game will be huge for him. He has us at home, first-year head coach. Team's been playing really hot. Shea's been looking, better. But he'll have to figure out how to stop, both Heisman contenders, well, all 3 Heisman contenders, honestly, Justin Fields, J.K., and Chase Young. Which obviously Chase Young's just been on a complete tear. I'll be curious to actually see this battle in the secondary between Michigan's receiving core and Ohio State's secondary. Michigan has a ton of talent at receiver with Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tariq Black, and Ronnie Bell. Obviously going against Jeffrey Okudah and Damon Arnett and Jordan Fuller and all them.
Shaun Wade.
So I'll be really curious to see how that goes. And then also something that I had noticed too is the OSU linebackers kind of struggled in coverage a little bit last week against Penn State's tight ends. So I'm gonna be curious to see if Michigan tries to take advantage of that or not.
Yeah, and
what were you saying?
Just that Michigan, Harbaugh obviously hasn't beat Ohio State, but
No.
And I obviously, as Ohio State fans, we're on campus. We're kind of ingrained in this. And everyone's opinion is that if we lose this game to Michigan, then all those great plays early in the season, the 50 points per game, the great defense, it all means nothing.
It doesn't matter.
It means nothing. Especially because how nice of a trump card is it to say that your coach has never beat Ohio State? It's such a thing that Harbaugh has to get over that. Obviously, as Ohio State fans, it's the last thing in the world that I want. And
right. Yeah.
I'm gonna, and it's in their place. Also, fun fact: my friend that's a Michigan fan told me this. It's the 50-year anniversary of when we went in there and they beat us when we were number 1. So,
I really
yeah,
need to do that.
I know. I'm telling. So, if there's a time for Harbaugh maybe to pull an upset, you know what I mean? Because everyone's assuming Ohio State's gonna come in and run them. Ohio State's number 1 in this, number 1 in that. If there was a time, to kind of catch us slipping, it would be now, and Ohio State needs to obviously make sure that does not happen.
Yeah, because we're absolutely in the driver's seat to go to the college football playoff with the number 1 seed and everything. If we win out, we should hands down be the number one.
Yeah. Beat Michigan, beat the winner of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and you're in. You know.
I agree. I just think Ohio State's too much of a complete team overall. They really haven't shown many weaknesses at all this season. Period. So I think hopefully they'll be able to get this win without too much resistance. But it's also a highly anticipated rivalry game. So if it's close, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Oh, I'd be 0% surprised if it was close, but I definitely expect Ohio State to win. Obviously,
I do too. Yeah.
But moving on to our betting picks, we went 0-4 last week. This week's gonna be better. I'm feeling it. I got a couple good ones. I got, first off, Packers -6.5 versus the Giants.
I was looking at that one.
Yeah, it's in New York, so I was slightly hesitant. But the way that the Packers got embarrassed and destroyed on Sunday Night Football, I have to assume Aaron Rodgers is coming out and he's going to throw 5 TDs. You know what I mean? I have to assume against a bad secondary, as I said, where they got the 49ers embarrassed them. This was supposed to be 8-2 versus 9-1, like two great teams, and they got ran off the field. You know what I mean? So hopefully the Packers come in with a little chip on their shoulder, they're ready to play, and they beat the Giants by a lot more than 6.5.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised at that pick at all. I mean, the Giants have just looked awful. Honestly, they've looked worse as the year's gone on.
They have. It seems like every game they get worse.
Yeah, so there's just so many holes that need to be filled there that I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers just completely run away with this game, which is honestly what I expect as a Giants fan. I'm not looking forward to this game at all. But moving on to my first pick, I have the Rams -3 at the Cardinals. I actually really like this pick because obviously we all know that the Rams just got completely embarrassed at home last week or on Monday to the Ravens. So I feel like they'll come into this game pissed off, just ready to rebound off that bad loss. And I mean, it's against a Cardinals team that's below average. Their season's over.
Definitely bottom half of the league.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't care that they're away. I think that they're just going to run away with this game and just get back on track because they're really not that bad of a team. I feel like -3 is kind of like a disrespectful spread, which we had even talked about before we started recording.
Yeah, like I definitely would have taken that one if you would not have, and I will definitely be betting that on Sunday. Assuming the line doesn't move crazy, but it's pretty rare.
So moving on to my second pick, I have the Colts -2.5 versus the Titans. I'm pretty sure both of these teams are fighting for the second place spot in the AFC South. I think it's going to be a really good game to watch, too. Obviously, we both had 4 other... I mean, this is a really good slate of games this week, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
But I think that the Colts have just looked really good this year with Jacoby. I think that they'll be able to at least win by a field goal.
Yeah, and I would hope... I definitely like the Colts versus the Titans, and I think 2.5 is a pretty not generous, but it's a pretty good spread. You know what I mean? Because winning by 3 is obviously a pretty common thing in the NFL. So I do like that for sure.
And they got them at home too.
Yeah, they're at home, and I just think that they're also coming off a loss. And the Titans are kind of hot right now, so we'll see if Ryan Tannehill's got anything in his
I was
up
just
his
gonna
sleeve.
say Ryan Tannehill's been looking actually pretty solid.
He has. Maybe that just speaks to how bad Mariota is. That this Titans offense is good enough that you could put anyone in it, and he does. Ryan Tannehill can do okay. So
that could absolutely be the case. And granted, he hasn't played all 16 games, well, not all 16, but he hasn't played the whole season. But he has the highest completion percentage too in the league right now, which was just absolutely baffling to me.
Yeah. But moving on to my last game, I already talked about this as one of my games of the week. But Seahawks -3 versus the Vikings. I just think primetime in Seattle. These are two really good teams. I still think it'll be a good game. But a Seahawks winning by 3, that sounds pretty good to me. You know what I mean? That sounds like about how this game is going to end. So
yeah, they don't lose at home often.
No, they do not lose at home often. Primetime Russ, as I said, Kirk. He's been trying to get rid of the fails in primetime narrative, but we'll see if he can actually do it. Because I mean, if he comes out and he beats the Seahawks in Seattle, I have to be like, oh dang, all right, don't bet against Kirk Cousins in primetime anymore. So that'll definitely, as I said earlier, that'll definitely be a great game. But I just think that Seahawks got it. So with that, guys, that is it. That is our Week 13 preview. It's going to be a good week. As I said, we got some really good games. This Ravens 49ers might be the best game of the year so far. This might be our Rams Chiefs from last year. You know what I mean? Where that was just a game that everyone had circled,
Right.
So it's going to be a great game. Be sure to like, subscribe, guys. Hopefully we'll be back in the regular studio for our next show, but you never know. And we will see you guys then.